Hey guys, Malcolm here. A lot of people asked for it, so here's another tournament vlog, this time for the San Jose Summer Chess Championships. I wanted to get this to you sooner, but the ratings didn't get posted until a little bit later, and then I traveled across the country to Boston to see a friend of mine. By the way, here's a shot of Cassie, who is keeping me company while I do this recording at like 1 in the morning. I should warn you, I'm a little rambly in this one, so you can use the chapter markers below to skip around. Let's see how I did.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. I am really tired, actually. I didn't get that much sleep last night. But I'm here at the San Jose Chess Club Summer Championship. A lot of people, after my last chess vlog, said that they really liked that content and they wanted me to do another one, so here I am. It's been a long week for me. There's been a lot going on at work. I haven't been sleeping that well. I haven't been recovering that well from workouts because I haven't been getting that much sleep. So I didn't spend a bunch of time this week doing preparation. So I'm trying to keep expectations for myself low. Uh, Last time, played 5 games, ended up with a 1340 or 1341 provisional rating on USCF, the U.S. Chess Federation. I'm still getting a provisional rating here with another 4 games. I have to take a bye on the last round. And I'm playing in a section that's under 1500. I think actually I'm going to try and make sure that I get a screenshot of this and I'll put it on the screen. I think out of 21 players, I'm the third highest rated. A lot of them are unrated, so they could be really good and we just don't have their rating. But what that's going to mean is I'm going to need to win a lot of games in order to go up in rating. And if I perform poorly, then I'm going to lose a lot of rating points. So I'm going to try not to stress out too much about where I end up rated. I mean, I'm going to try really hard, but I'm going to try to be emotionally resilient to the outcomes. Compared with last time, I'm not that nervous. I just haven't spent all week sort of building up to this, so it's pretty easy for me to be relaxed in this circumstance. Last time I was thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and this time, I knew that it was a thing that was coming up in my life, but just busy doing other things, so I didn't sweat it too much. And we're going to see whether or not the extra attention that I paid last time paid dividends, or whether or not being relaxed like this time is going to work out well. It's at the same hotel it was at last time, so I'll take some pictures of the playing hall and stuff. It shouldn't be too different. I think I'm going to be playing a lot of children. I'm a little bit nervous about that. Last time I lost to a 9-year-old that was really good. Admittedly, he was rated like 1650, and no one in my section is rated above 1500, so hopefully a little bit easier. But I'm a little bit nervous about being paired down to children because I'm going to try and play games really slowly, and children tend to play pretty quickly, so I'm going to have to fight against the instincts that I have when my opponent plays quickly to do the same. I got a chess coach about 2-3 weeks ago, so we've only had a couple of sessions, but he gave me a little bit of advice going into this tournament. He said, try to make sure I really sit down and think and calculate at the critical points of the game. So the first move that I'm out of book, make sure that I'm paying attention to to all the possibilities, try and really calculate and figure out a good plan. And when I'm going from the mid game into the end game, trading down, like for example, into a king and pawn end game, sit down and think about that king and pawn end game and figure out if I'm actually winning or not, because that'll determine whether or not I should be doing the trading if I have an option, which is good advice. And I'm going to try and mark on my score sheet with little stars to help me remember when I got to those points and really spent my time. And then beyond that, he says actually, in order to conserve some stamina, don't spend too much time calculating on every move. Come up with a plan, and then as long as things are going to your plan, re-verify, but, only spend a minute or two, and then when the critical positions come, spend 10 or 15 minutes, really figure it out. So I'm going to try really hard to be patient. I see that good players do that, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, we have 18 minutes until the first round, and I need to go tell the tournament director that I need to take a 5th round half-point bye. So I'm going to go do that, but I'll see you guys after game 1. I'm tired, but I'm excited, and I'm happy to be here with you guys again. I hope you guys enjoy this. Also, there was a tiny dog in the background the entire time, like right over there. So if I was looking around, that's why, because I love tiny dogs. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, so the first game's over. I was playing black against a guy named Guru. He was about 16. In high school, pretty chill. Hadn't taken the SATs yet. We chatted a little bit before the game. He was nice, just like a decent dude out here to play some chess. He was unrated, but when we talked a little bit on chess.com, he was like 15 or 1600, which is not a good matchup for me. Like, that's a game that I'm supposed to lose most of the time. It was a rough one, guys. I was playing black. We played a gioco piano, like the classical Italian game, and I did some things that like I thought were reasonable, but turned out to be like long-term hindrances. I just couldn't get myself coordinated quickly enough, which was a little bit difficult. But my opponent played well. I played to mate. Didn't take super long. Game was like an hour and a half, so I have 3 hours until the next game. Maybe I'll go home and clean up a little bit. Maybe I'll hang out and just get some lunch. Not entirely clear. And the guy next to me, also an unrated guy, pretty chatty, which I normally like. But he was unrated, but he was like 1900 or 2000 on chess.com, and he's also in my section, so it was difficult. Yeah, at one point, the guy next to me was like, "Oh man, on your previous move, if you had played this, it would have worked out." And it's like, dude, you can't talk during games, and even if you could talk, you can't talk to people about how their game is going. Like, that's not. He just had no idea what he was and wasn't allowed to do, and he kept talking with his opponent, who was a kid, during the game, which has nothing to do with how I did. Like, I played poorly because I played poorly, but it was very frustrating to be like, I'm trying to think here, and these two people are just chatting it up in the tournament hall, and they were whispering, but when you're sitting right next to them, it doesn't matter. Oh gosh, it's just very weird. Felt thrown off my game. Also, I said that I wasn't nervous before the game, which was true, but it turns out when I play chess, I just can't feel anything other than a strong desire to win and nervousness about losing. So just I get anxious just sitting at the board, which is very like unlike me. I'm usually pretty like smooth in circumstances, but I think so much of it is just having to sit and try to force myself to be patient, and not being able to control my emotions is making it rough because I can't force myself not to be anxious. I keep like seeing a move, calculating it like halfway, and then being like, oh, what happens next? And then my instinct is just to play the move because I want to find out, and that's dumb. So I really need to find a way to get myself to be more like calm and interested, right? Like I have to find some way for me to feel like the game is a puzzle, because right now that's not happening and it's rough. But all in all, like I said beforehand, I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. I was playing black against a higher rated player. Didn't sleep well last night. Been feeling tired. We're just gonna go home, recoup a little bit, and we'll see how we do in the second round. Okay, we are back after having had some lunch and gone home. It's about 1:25. The next round starts in about 5 minutes. I'm not that worried though because they haven't posted the next set of pairings yet. 2 games are still playing from the first round, so we might start a little bit late. I can't tell you what my second round is going to be. I took some time, I went home, I had lunch, I lay down and watched some Olympics highlights, which was very fun. I mean, a little bit the wrong thing to do emotionally because it was getting me hyped rather than calming me back down, but it was very enjoyable. And I went back and looked at the first game with the computer, and I was equal for a lot longer than I thought. My mistake being very close to the end of the game. I should have been a little bit more patient with myself. I should have been a little bit more forgiving and defended a little bit more resiliently. The problem I was having is when I would get to a difficult position, I had lots of time. Time wasn't a concern at all. But because of the pressure at the board, rather than sitting down and just calmly evaluating every possible thing, I felt like I needed to do something. That's usually, I guess, my response to pressure is trying to do something. And that's the wrong response here. Like, if you feel pressure, just sit there. So I'm going to try and do that better this game. I can't make any promises. I'm just trying my best out here. But that's what hopefully I'm going to do. And hopefully I get to play white this round, I think. I mean, there's no guarantee, but last time it alternated, so this time I think it's going to alternate again. Hopefully I can dictate the game a little bit more and smooth my way through. I think it's just because this is so new. I mean, it's so unlike me to get this nervous. So yeah, I'm going to go inside and try my best here in a second, guys. I'll let you know who I was playing and what the circumstances were after the round, because I don't know right now. See you guys in a couple hours, I guess. Bye. Okay, so we're coming out of round 2. It's like 3:50, so the game took since 1:30, so like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It was good. My opponent's name was Justin Stimatze. He was a nice guy from Berkeley. This was his second tournament, I think. He was playing one at the Mechanics Institute in San Francisco before this. So not his first time, but he was still figuring things out. Very nice guy, like me, an adult who decided that he wanted to play. My guess would be early 30s if I had to say. He was well dressed, had a nice watch. Anyways, it was a pleasant game. It was nice. I got to play white, or I played e4 and he played e6, so it's a French defense. And I lost the French defense in the last round of my last tournament, if you guys remember. I just totally imploded. And so I was debating playing a different line than the one that I normally play, but I stuck to my guns and I said, no, we just went over this, so I should be able to do it this time. It pretty quickly deviated, but I'm glad that I did because I ended up with like a pretty crushing position, and it went from having more space to a couple of pawns, and then my opponent miscalculated a trade, which ended up in me winning a rook, and then I got to do something flashy where I promoted a pawn to a knight just because it was the most forcing line. and ended up one move away from checkmating my opponent. No matter which one of the two places he went, he was going to get mated. Which, if he's going to go all that way, I saw that it was going to be mate from about 5 moves out, and so I'm disappointed that I didn't get to play the last move because I could have promoted to a rook in one. But I wasn't trying to like style on the guy or anything. I was just excited to get to play a mate over the board. So still, I've played 7 games and I've been checkmated every time I've lost except one. And then every time I've won, my opponent has resigned before I can give checkmate. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But it was nice to come out with a win. I did a better job of like feeling relaxed, and it's easier to feel relaxed once you like have an advantageous position. It was especially nice to not be playing somebody younger and not have it be the morning. I was drinking water instead of soda or coffee. I think that helped too. I think I might have to like stay away from the stimulants until I get tired. That's a good lesson to learn. So maybe tomorrow morning I won't try coffee if I can help it in the morning if I'm getting good rest. Yeah, good round 2. Round 3 starts at 6 p.m. So I have a little over 2 hours. So I need to go and find some food to eat, and then I'll talk to you guys about what my next pairing is. But yeah, so far 1 for 2. Glad to have avenged my original loss. Now we're even on the day, and we can try and push forward. I only get 4 rounds, so I really want to win or draw the next round so that I have the opportunity to have a plus score this weekend. All right, see you guys soon. Bye-bye. Okay, all right. So just had dinner. Feeling pretty all right. Was a little bit rushed because when I ordered dinner, it came late, but that's okay. Can't control that. All we can control is making sure we eat dinner and get here on time. So we got about 10 minutes until the round starts, which is plenty of time to go inside and get settled. Shouldn't be a problem. I'm playing against Jashith Karthik. He's rated 12-16, and he has 1.5 out of 2 so far. I have 1 out of 2. Because I'm one of the higher rated people that has 1 out of 2, they pair me up rather than pairing me down, because the 2 people that have 1.5 had already played each other. This should be interesting. I have black, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just, again, going to try and really sort of quell the emotional tension, really just sit down, exist, and once I've sort of calmed myself, then begin to calculate. That worked well last game, where I was able to sort of get into a position where I wasn't worried about most of the tactics and I had most of the threats. And then I was able to sort of turn a positional advantage into a material advantage. Just really trying to settle into it. I'm tired. I'm tired. But it doesn't matter if you're tired. It's time to go to war. I'll see you guys after the game. Fucking 9-year-olds. Jashith Karthi, very nice kid, really polite, rated 1250, so about 100 points below where I calibrated last time. He was white, I was black, and we played an opening that I like wasn't familiar with at all, and I thought I was going to get crushed. But I managed to like shuffle myself around fairly well, and I thought I was doing really well in the mid game. And then I like saw a move, and then I saw what I thought was a better move and calculated a line, and I was like, yeah, it's resilient to that. It'll be fine. And totally overlooked like the most obvious response because I was too interested in what the complicated responses were, and hung my own bishop in exchange for 2 pawns. So I was like, okay, a bishop for 2 pawns. That's like bad, but like maybe I can do something with that. But it sort of compounded from there, where I ended up like, in order to not lose one of the pawns back, I lost the exchange, and then things got. I had to trade rooks. It was weird. So I ended up like having a pass pawn marching down the board, and I had my queen, and I was doing all this stuff where I was pinning his knight, and he was threatening checkmate, but I was defending it while I was pushing at the same time, and he had to move his rook to like somewhere dumb. And then I was like calculating like several forcing lines because I like had to be really accurate if I was going to have any chance. And then I was like, oh, like if I do this, I'm like 1 tempo behind. And I was like, oh, well, I can move my queen here, and that like saves me a move, and it'll be fine. But the problem is that doing that hung my queen to his queen, which had moved somewhere else on all of the other lines. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll do this other thing. This gives me the best chance. And then I played it, and he took my queen, and I looked to make sure that his move was legal, and then I resigned. So 0 for 2 against the 9-year-olds. But you know, you win some, you lose some. And I know what I need to pay attention to next time. I did a better job of like using my time and remaining calm. And round started at 6. It's now 7:52, so almost 2 hours, which is good because he didn't use that much time. So that means that I used a lot of time. I probably used an hour and a half of the total time because he'd always just like sit down and play a move. So that's good. We're making progress on like the sort of tangible things that we can do, and then as far as the chess is concerned, it'll come. I'm not as fatigued as I thought I would be at the end of the day. I'm like physically pretty tired, but I'm not super fried. Probably gonna go home, play some video games, spend a little bit of time looking at how my games went. I've got 1 more game tomorrow, and then we're gonna wrap up early. Instead of 5 games, we'll have 4. And we're 1 out of 3 right now, so we'd really like to win our next game. Luckily, every time you lose, you end up playing somebody that has the same score as you, which means they either were the same and lost just like you did, or they lost more games than you beforehand. So I'll have some hope in that respect at least. We'll go home, we'll enjoy our evening, and we'll wake up in the morning fresh with a bright outlook. I'll see you guys then. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. It is about 9:51, so I've got 9 minutes until round 4, which is going to be my last round of this tournament. If I win the game, then I will have gone even, which I really hope because I think I'm going to lose a bunch of rating points this tournament. But that's okay. Apparently, I'm just not as good as I played last tournament, according to how I'm playing today. I'm playing Kate Canessa, who is rated 478. It's both relaxing because I feel like, oh man, I'm not going to get dominated by somebody. And at the same time, it's like, well, if I fuck up and lose, then like I'm the guy that couldn't beat the person that couldn't beat anybody else. So we'll have to see how it goes. But I'm looking forward to at least getting to play a little bit. I think it's going to be fun. Excited to get to play this last round. These opportunities don't come along a whole lot. So I'm just going to go and try and enjoy it. I'm going to go inside and set up now. I'll see you guys after the game, and then we'll do post-final game analysis, and then talk about how the whole thing went when I get home later. All right. Bye, guys. Alrighty then, folks. So I just finished my game. Actually, I finished my game over an hour ago. But my opponent and I sat down and chatted about the game after the fact. I was playing white, and it was against a Philidor defense. And I got an advantage out of the opening. I won a free pawn, and then from there, my opponent played really resiliently. I was impressed. And we went back and forth. I ended up winning a second pawn. The position got complicated, and I thought it was going to liquidate into something where I was up 2 pawns, but it was going to be some work to defend. It was going to be like a 2 rooks versus 2 rooks endgame where I had 4 pawns and they had 2. And then my opponent, they made some trades which were okay, and then my opponent ended up blundering their rook, and so then I was up a rook. And then they pushed a pawn, and what I should have done was just, or captured a pawn, and I should have just captured back with my pawn, but I tried to get fancy and capture back a different pawn with my rook, and then they captured my other pawn, and then I moved my rook behind them to defend, put a rook in between their rook and the queening square, and then they just queened. So I immediately gave away the rook that I was up, which was incredibly unfortunate. So then it was king and 2 pawns versus king and pawn. I think I had the right idea, and then I think I messed it up. And then my opponent didn't know how opposition worked, so I ended up winning the game because it was going to be a draw, and then my opponent made the wrong move. Which still counts. I mean, I'll take it. But I was winning several different times, and I just gave it away, which is unfortunate. But I'm proud of the fact that I played aggressively. I played resiliently. When my opponent offered to draw, I said no. I wanted to like forcibly make them demonstrate that they knew how to defend, and she didn't, which was nice. And then we spent an hour like going back over the game and talking about our ideas, and there were some things that I didn't understand why she had done, and she explained it, and it made more sense. And there were some things that I had done that she said, oh, well, should I have responded differently? And we spent a long time talking, and then we talked about her kids, and they're going off to college. She was very nice. So that was very pleasant. So we ended the weekend 2 for 4. So could have been worse, could have been better. I'm probably going to lose some rating points. I'll find that out either tonight or tomorrow, and we'll go over it in the end recap. Nice to have you guys to come back to at the end of the games. It's helpful for me to be able to express a little bit. It takes it off my mind, so it's not as pent up. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you guys in the recap. Bye.
So that's how it went. 2 out of 4. It's hard to complain, but this was not my best performance. By the way, shout out to Kate Canessa, who I played in my last round, for being really nice. I hope to get the opportunity to play her again sometime soon. And now for the part you've all been waiting for, the rating change. I came into the tournament rated 1340 on 5 games, and in this tournament I lost to an unrated player, lost to a player rated 1233, and beat players rated 438 and 422. If you've got any guesses, now's the time to put them in the comments. Alright, here we go. I went from 1340 to 1246. While that doesn't feel great, it certainly could have been worse. Luckily, there's more to come. I'm starting to play at the US Open Chess Championships on August 1st, which is probably the date that this is going up. I'll be trying to do day-by-day recaps of how the games go and how my tournament has been, so if that's of any interest to you, subscribe. Wish me luck, and I'll see y'all then.